maybe my taste buds are like acquired because I've been eating like whole food bait. I haven't had like a real brownie in a while.
Yeah.
Like I haven't made like homemade brownies in a while. So maybe I'm like partial,
You
but
think it's
Uh,
good,
I,
and then people are like, "This is trash."
yeah. I'm just
no, we
like,
have the
I
same palate,
genuinely,
so.
yes, I think you'll like them. I know you'll like them.
Speaking of speaking of recipes that are like, oh, this is trash. I remember when I used to try to make everyone make the chickpea brownies like in peak like tracking obsession, and they were disgusting. I know you guys can kind
I
of
never got them to work right. I never got them to work
because
right.
chickpeas aren't meant to be in brown. Like
No.
it's just not how it's supposed to work.
Literally, yeah. Honestly, what else?
Illegal.
I'm not gonna lie though, all my life, the only good thing that came out, this is, I can't believe I'm ever saying this. This is not, this is gonna go online and I'm gonna get canceled. The only good thing that came out of my eating disorder was that I made these zucchini brownies once.
No, I'm
It
not
was
listening
so
anymore.
good.
I'm not listening anymore.
No, because
It
it's probably like zucchini bread. It's probably like zucchini
was.
bread
It
vibes.
was. It
Yeah.
was so good. And all my life, I'm not gonna lie, like the miracle noodles, all those toxic things, so bad.
Yeah.
Those, I will eat a real freaking brownie today. But sometimes I be making those still because they
Sometimes.
so
I've had sweet potato brownies, and those are actually good.
those are
Yeah.
fire.
You
Those-
just you mash the sweet potato?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or you'll boil it first and then like so it's
Yeah.
really mushy.
Got it.
It's actually good. Like I'm not.
I
It's
mean,
just
I
like genuine.
the sweet potato I could see because it's like sweeter.
Sweet, yeah.
The zucchini,
No,
no.
it
Good
just acts as
zucchini
like
bread.
it
Zucchini
just
bread.
acts as like
Moist.
I've never
It makes
had
it more
zucchini bread.
moist.
yeah, it just makes it like really gooey. And then you have a lot of peanut butter. It's definitely not low cal. So I don't know what I was trying to
Yeah.
accomplish back in the day. It wasn't even doing that. But it was phenomenal. Like they were yummy. But anyway, also like real brownies are wonderful too. So
Yeah.
if you have a real brownie, you're on the right call.
Speaking
Um,
of food, I mean, today is all about intuitive eating. I'm so excited that you guys are here. This topic is very near and dear to all of our hearts. And we really hope this can kind of bring value to you guys and just kind of create a space to be able to talk about it. And an open environment of girls who have been through it, they've lived it, they've experienced the worst of it, I feel like, and have come out on the other side. So if you're struggling, if a friend is struggling, if you know someone's struggling, if you just are curious about intuitive eating, we are here to help. We put together a few slides kind of like talking through the 10 pillars of intuitive eating, but we figured this could just really be like every other call of an open floor for questions, discussion, sharing experiences, getting support, etc. So did I miss anything, guys?
no, you're on a roll.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions or any thoughts off the rip, we would love to hear them.
Literally anything about tracking, not tracking.
Or do you guys like who are listening in here? Do you guys track? Do any of you track? Do any of you eat intuitively? Are you trying to like switch? I know I get a lot of questions on like how to go from tracking to intuitive eating. That's like a huge question. It's a question I had when I had my bird. Oh my gosh, I would say birth. It's bird. My bird of tracking. I tracked for like a small amount of time. But I was like, how do I go back to intuitive eating? Like, what's the best approach? So, if any of you guys have any questions?
I don't have any like a question, but like I personally think tracking so bad. Like no, okay. I think that it is a great tool, right? Like a tool, not a necessity. But like every time I would start tracking, I would just get so like annoyed because it was like, oh my God, I forgot to log in my coconut oil or I
Yeah.
forgot to log in my olive oil. Like all of these little things. And then I would stress out so bad all the time about like what my meal consisted of because I was like, these are too many calories. I gotta know what to do. Da, 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 da. And it was just stressing me out and I hated it. And like, I don't know, I feel like every time I started to track, then me and food was just starting to not vibe at all. And I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna eat anything, which also was all bad. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of tracking, but I do think that it is a great tool,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I think oh Maddie, you can go ahead if you want.
you go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I think I've been through the ringer too. Literally tracked for, I was just talking to Maddie about this for 600 days in a row before, like without breaking the streak, like every gram of everything, salt, sodium, like literally, guys, so intense. I'm not like, if I was going to commit to something, I really committed. So I tracked to the T. We were talking about like grapes, fruit, everything. For years, I never knew what it was like to take like a handful of something off the counter, just like as you're passing, because you just want like a little bite of something. Like I never ever did that. Snacking was not a thing. But so it got really toxic. But before we get into this whole thing in general, I just want to say I don't want you guys to think that like if you do track and like it is working for you in a season, or you have specific goals for weight loss because of a health reason, like we're not saying tracking is the worst thing in the world ever. We're just saying it's a very slippery, there's a slippery, like really foggy line, right, between it becoming very toxic and it being helpful. So we think that it's important to have these conversations to open it up and be aware, because we didn't have someone sitting on this side telling us before we started tracking what it could turn into and the signs that we needed to look for. And that's why it expedited for a lot of us and became very toxic. And kind of like Becca, you started to, the fact that you are in a place where you noticed it was messing with your head and it wasn't actually a good approach for you. I love that, because it means you're really in tune with yourself and that you were able to be like, nah, this isn't for me. But there's a lot of us that aren't emotionally mature enough. I guess not emotionally mature enough, but just we don't know that. We're not familiar with our bodies yet in that way. So anyway, just wanted to give a little disclaimer before we.
Yeah, and bouncing off that too, kind of like Becca was saying, it can be a tool, and it also can be a tool for people, I think, who are under eating and are trying to learn the amounts that they need to be eating. I know a lot of people have like actually healed themselves through tracking just to see what a healthy portion looks like because they were under eating so bad. And I think it can be utilized as like a benchmark. But again, I think that serves a season. I don't think it's the most sustainable approach to do long term. It's a very like situational approach for most people. And I think that's what the media and social media and the internet just doesn't shed light on, is that it's a tool that's meant for a season, not forever. It's just not a sustainable approach to do every single day for your entire life. Like Kayla did it for 600 days, but still that's like such a small percentage of her whole life. Like it's not meant to be forever. And it's really, really healthy, and it's really important for us to learn how to, you know, do your day to day without having a specific number to follow, because that's just not realistic. And then again, it kind of plays into emotions, and it draws emotions into food, and then your whole day is dependent, and the whole success of your day is dependent on like eating and food, when there's so much more to life. But again, what I want to preface is like it can be used as a tool and there is positives to it. So people who do utilize it, like you don't need to like, you know, slander them for not eating intuitively, but again, like shed light on maybe that it is just like or maybe I just understand like hopefully it's just a season for them and not a forever thing, because I think that's when the slippery slope happens, when like maybe it's not used as a tool anymore, like they've reached what they needed to accomplish, but then you're still forcing yourself into that mindset.
Yeah, and like the last thing I'll say about that too, bouncing even off of Chloe, is like it just kind of goes into like the art of observing without absorbing again, right? Like someone else's goals might be different than yours, but at the end of the day, you're your home, and only you can kind of know if okay, this is getting obsessive, right? Like, and just some quick signs to know, hey, maybe my relationship with tracking has gotten a little too obsessive, is you're thinking about food all the time. You're leaving that meal not full, not satisfied, right? You look at food as just numbers. You will base your plans around your tracked meals. You're afraid to eat out or eat quote unquote off plan. You always look for the highest protein, lowest carb, lowest cal option. You're afraid of anything that isn't low sugar, right? Like not labeled as like low sugar. You're afraid of the real deal stuff. You feel like you need to earn your food, right? You feel like you have to work out in order to earn your food. So these are all things that are really sadly normalized in like social media, the doom scroll. So I just think that we all collectively talked and really wanted this to just bring light to it of like, hey, this is another option for you that can be really sustainable if you feel like you're kind of stuck in the tracking mindset. So with that, do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, and if something works for somebody around you, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Because I had somebody very close to me that was tracking everything, so then I decided to. And I was doing 75 hard, and I'm like, oh, I'm just tracking because I'm doing 75 hard. And I kind of knew on the inside. And she's like, well, I do 365 hard. And I'm like, okay, well, then I'm comparing myself to that, you know? And you have to just like not do that. If somebody around you has that kind of relationship, like make sure to take care of, like Maddie said, it's your home.
Yeah.
Like take care of yours, no matter what they look like. If you wish you looked like them, like anything, you don't know what's going on inside their home
Mhm.
and what they're just saying out loud. So always take care of yourself. Cause that was really hard for me because I was struggling. I quit 75 hard most recently because of my relationship with food. So to hear somebody like say that, even if it was unintentional, it wasn't to hurt me. Like it's their own thing, but like always focus on you and how you feel.
Definitely. Good. Love that. So do you guys want me to share my screen? We can kind of talk through the pillars of.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Okie dokie. We going to, can y'all see that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So intuitive eating. So basically how I like to think about intuitive eating is you get what you want and what you need, right? So tapping out of diet, oh, that needs a T, diet culture and back into your own body.
Live.
Just like, let me fix that. So the people that founded this, the two women that founded this, they founded it on 10 pillars that kind of encompassed what intuitive eating was. So pillar one, you first have to reject that diet mentality. Also spelled billion wrong. It's okay. Clearly my mind was not there. So this is kind of a really interesting play on diet culture. So think about like diet culture over the years, right? You've got like Weight Watchers and, the Atkins diet and keto and carnivore and Noom and whatever other diet trends that have happened. Like now we're on Ozempic or pill, like weight loss pills. It's a $60 billion yearly profit industry because it literally preys on your insecurities, right? Like it tells you that there's something wrong with you. And in order to be worthy, you have to try this new diet that they're selling to you, right? And think about any business model, right? You want that, whatever you're selling, you want that customer to be a return customer, right? So if not, you're not gonna be that profitable. So the diets they're selling you, the diet pills, the trends, the bars, whatever, it's designed for you to fail and make you feel like it's your willpower that's wrong and then come back to try the next thing, right? So just some food for thought, like it's a broken system that's set up for you to fail in the first place. Pillar one. Okay. Anybody want to take pillar two?
Oh, yeah, I
I
can.
Oh yeah, you got it, girl. I don't have my
Okay, so-
glasses. The words were kind of
I
small.
love this. I love this one because it's about honoring your hunger. Maddie talks about this a lot on her page. It's just like honor your body, honor your hunger. It's going to change every single day, obviously. But we're naturally designed with hunger and fullness hormones, and that's huge. I think we lose sight of that when we're tracking, we don't pay attention to actually how we feel and honoring our body's signals. And when they tell us to eat and when we've had enough, God created us with the ability to intuitively know when to take care of ourselves without an app. Even hunger cues you get as a chance to build or break trust between you and your body, which is so well written. I love that we're bringing in God into it too, because it's like we were designed with specific things in our bodies to literally tell us, like, you're hungry, eat, fuel your body. Like it's like when your phone gives you like, oh, it's dying, it's at 10%, like you better plug it in. That's like your stomach growling. It's like plug it in. And then when you're full, it's like when it gives you like the 80%, or it's like your phone's charged, and it's like, okay, you don't have to, how you can like overcharge your phone and it's like not good to do or whatever, and you get that notification. Your body being full is like that because you can have too much of a good thing. So it's like you can overeat, you can undereat, obviously. Just like learning to be in tune to your body it will change your life because you actually trust yourself, which is huge. I think the relationship with you and yourself and your mind and your body is like, it's really hard to navigate, but once you do, you realize like how refreshing and like peaceful it is. But again, with apps, you're trusting the app more than you're trusting your own body. And again, it's like anything, a symptom is a result of like something going on, and our bodies are designed to like let us know because there's no other way other than like how we feel.
And
So
I was
like
saying that sorry to interrupt, when I was tracking y'all, just because I felt this adds in right here, Chloe, like I never felt more out of tune with my body. Like I literally did not like my hunger cues were so far gone. Like I would go and give myself like one like untracked meal, right, a week, and I would eat 2 giant mellow mushroom large pizzas and not feel the slightest bit full. Like major red flag, right? And from then on, like I literally was like years where I didn't remember what it felt like to be full. Like I couldn't fathom what that feeling was. I didn't remember because it'd been so long. And so like I genuinely was just so, the longer I tracked, the further I got away from knowing myself, knowing my body, knowing when I was, like fueling myself enough. And obviously that bleeds into your workouts and to everything, like overall progress in all areas. So I think people track to stay in control, but I think the irony is that the longer you track, the more out of control that you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely like
Yeah.
a Chinese finger trap. Like the more that you pull, the more that it pulls you and like the tighter it grips on you. And yeah, I definitely agree with what Kayla said. Whenever I was tracking and obsessing over numbers, I never felt more out of tune with my body. And it was like I was literally fighting a war with my body 24/7 because I was going against exactly what it told me it needed, which was food and energy to better support me. Which kind of brings us to pillar 3 and 4. So pillar 3 is make peace with food, right? Food was never meant to be a guilt center, right? That's diet culture, right? Food has no moral standard. It's literally just food. And at the end of the glycolysis pathway, the sugar from the real brownie is the exact same glucose that comes from the sweet potato or that comes from the whole wheat pasta. Like, yeah, they are chemically made up differently, but whenever our bodies break it down the way it's supposed to, it's glucose, which goes to our brain, which goes to our lungs, goes to our heart. Our blood travels 12,000 miles a day. Our muscles use 300 to 600 calories. Our heart pumps our heart pumps like 115,000 times a day, I think. So basically, like, your body's a powerhouse, and like that food goes to you. Like, your body just wants to support you, basically. And the 4th pillar is challenge the food police, right? So that's where I was kind of talking about earlier, is take an objective view of the messages being put on social media. Who's saying what? What's that person's motive? Is it drink my skinny greens drink to, de-bloat yourself and use code so-and-so to save money? Woo! Like, that's not a credible source, right? Like, that's probably a morning picture and a night picture from her. There's no difference in that. So just some food for thought there. Pillar 5. Kayla, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So I think that this one obviously is very important as well, because you have to kind of learn this mutual respect with your body. And when you slowly transition from tracking, you kind of have to like reestablish that trust with yourself. So you have to respect your fullness, just like your hunger cues. Your fullness cues are equally as important. They exist for a reason. So the difference between being super restrictive and an abundance mindset with food is basically approaching a meal like I'm never, not like, OMG, I'm never going to get this food again because it's off limits. And so let me get out of my system now. So that's kind of switching that over to, I can have this food at any point, and establishing that trust with your body to tell you when you've had enough. Like when I was going back to eating, I ate those 2 large pizzas, is because I didn't, my body literally was like inhaling it, because I knew like this wasn't something I could have regularly, right? So I just inhaled it. My brain shut off the hunger cues. It's like, we're going to store this ish because it might be a year before I have this again, or it might, who knows, but if it's something, if you allow yourself to like look at a food and say, there's nothing technically off limits, like if you're craving a real freaking cupcake next week, heaven forbid, you can just have the cupcake, right? And so your body just kind of establishes that trust, and then you can actually enjoy that item for what it is, instead of being forced to see that item as something to fill you up, right? So like, it's like, if you want pizza, if you want a cupcake or whatever, these foods that you don't like, you don't ever have to bring them, like have them off limits. And while they might not be the most quote unquote nourishing foods, you can incorporate them into your diet and enjoy them for what it is, a yummy piece of food, memories, whatever, without depending on that food to like fill you up, which was kind of a sidebar, but I just want to tell you that because that helped me a lot too.
Yeah. And like with that as well, when you're in that like restrictive mindset with food, and you say like, say you walk into a candy shop, right? And your mom's like, you can have any piece of candy in this store except for the red lollipop. All you want is the red lollipop, right? It's like you're pulling back. This is how I explain it to my clients. Like a binge restrict cycle is like a tension on a rubber band, right? You ignore those cravings. You tell yourself that like, you can't have. You're pulling that rubber band back, right? You're creating that tension. And then you have the cheat day, right? And then you like overeat, you ignore your fullness cues, you have a binge because you've cocked this tension back so much and your body doesn't trust you anymore. So it's like, okay, I have to get all this in while I can because I don't know when I'm going to get it again. And that's where
Yeah.
that cycle kind of plays into a role. That's a visual that has helped me too, to kind of visualize it.
Yeah, and even bouncing off of this, like one thing that I've even had to learn is just like hunger cues in a general meal. Like understanding like it might not even be like a quote unquote like cheat meal. Like it doesn't have to be like pizza. It can literally be my beef and rice. But I was for so long, like I was such an overeater because I just had a habit. Like it was truly just a bad habit I developed and I wasn't honoring my fullness. And I would just always clear the plate no matter what. And that's not a bad thing. But a lot of the times I was like dishonoring my body because I was just like eating the food because it was there. It was because I was distracted when I was eating. I'd be scrolling on my phone or I'd be like working on something else and I wasn't actually like present with the meal and like listening to my body and paying attention to like how full I was. Because then I'd be like so full I didn't feel good. And that's like also not like a fun place to be in. So it's like learning to like just like be in tune, be undistracted when you're eating a meal can help with this if you struggle like just overeating in general or undereating, whatever it is, but like just try not to be distracted and just try to like be present with the food because you can like come back to it later. That's what I always like for some reason didn't understand was like I have my meal. If I'm full, I can and like I get hungry in an hour or 2 hours later, I can like come back, reheat it up and finish it.
I
But
think
like
that's
I have that
tracking it, right? Like it's like we're like taught to like if you're tracking it, like
yeah.
it's on your plate, you eat it all. Like you have this many grams of this many grams of this. So then it's like it's almost like you have to rewire your brain when you're trying to transition of like you don't have to eat it all just because it's on your plate, you know? Like you can come back, like you said, like and get more or or not finish it. Like that's the whole point of trying to make that transition.
Yeah. My new thing this week is I don't know if you guys have somebody that like is with you a lot. Like I have my husband. So I told him, I'm like, hey, if I am eating really fast, tell me to stop and slow down. Because I found something that I do is I eat it super fast because I think it tastes so good. And I don't even know that I'm full, that I move on to the next thing and then I'm making dessert and then I'm eating that and I'm eating it so fast. And then all of a sudden I'm just so full. I feel like I'm going to throw up. And that comes from like what Becca and I talked about, how like our parents made us eat all of our food no matter what. And then also tracking and then having to eat that all no matter what. So it's like Chloe said, be not distracted. Like I love to watch a YouTube video. I'm like an iPad kid, even though I'm 24, like when I eat and stuff, but like try and eat slower because then your body can like, you can actually hear it when it's telling you that it's full. That's something that's good for me at least.
Yeah, I think
Totally.
the connection between your mind and your stomach is huge. And I think with food in general, that relationship between like your thoughts, your mind, whether you're anxious, whatever, those really do go hand in hand. And so I think a lot of people are scared of like, well, if I stop tracking, I'm going to gain weight because there's no way I'm going to stop and be full. And at first, well, I'm sure we'll get to it later, but there is a messy middle and you'll have to relearn those hunger cues. But eventually, if your mind's right, and you're doing these things, you're slowing down, being intentional with meals, and like they won't be that food noise, and you'll be able to actually hear yourself of like, okay, I'm full now, that's enough.
Definitely. And like that's a lot kind of that messy middle is your body and brain feeling safe again. And it's like that repeated exposure of like, oh, she's going to give me what I want. She's going to listen to me. I don't have to look at this as such a stressful experience. Like food can actually be enjoyable. This is a huge part. I think pillar 6 is like maybe the most important part of intuitive eating. And me and my one-on-one girls work so much on this because exactly as Alana was saying, it's like reconnecting with your body and just like bringing that positive emotion back into food and really just being able to be like, like what about this meal do I like? And, am I full at this point? And putting your fork down and getting curious about the food, right? Because food isn't just numbers. Like for so long, no one knew what numbers were in terms of food. They just knew the feeling, right? So kind of what I said here, there's a huge difference between feeling full and feeling satisfied, right? So fullness, like physically distended, you have that physical full feeling, but satisfaction is like, oh, that was good, right? And then you go on with your day. You're not still thinking about food 24/7. So for example, for me, like whenever I was tracking or when I was still in a really restrictive place with food, I would eat what I thought was healthy, right? Which is big salad, no carbs, low fat dressing, chicken, right? Really sad meal, but it filled me up. I physically felt like I was 6 months pregnant because there was so much volume in my stomach, right? But there really wasn't substance that satisfied me, like carbohydrates and fats. And those are satisfying, right? They're macronutrients for a reason. You need them. You can't just eat protein and think that everything's going to be solved. And they can absolutely coexist together. Like the goal is to be physically full, like at a comfortable place on the hunger scale, but also really satisfied. And that comes from a really balanced spread of macros, right? A little bit of fiber, complex carb, protein, healthy fats there. But that macro mindset, as I said, also kind of often leaves you lacking that emotional satisfaction, and then kind of creates that tension from the foods that we actually want. And the more that you avoid them, the stronger they're going to be. So just some food for thought too, if you can't really tell the difference between satisfaction and fullness.
Good.
Pillar 7, who wants to go?
I can. So, pillar 7 is honor your feelings with kindness. Emotional eating of any sort gets a bad rap in health culture, when in reality, there are so many positive emotion experiences around food. Think about celebrations, connections, traditions, conversations, adventures, etc. I emotionally eat all the time, and I am way healthier now than compared to when I didn't allow my emotions in at all. That's good. That's really good, because I think a lot of people are like, remove emotion from food. It's food. Like, think about it like that. But there are like times where it is like a positive, fun thing. Even for me, like cooking, like emotionally, like I enjoy cooking. Cooking's like a passion of mine. It gets me excited. It gets me happy. And there are like positive benefits. So when people are like, think of it like this, and this, like, I feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't have to be such a cut dry thing. There is like positive emotions. Maddie might be able to elaborate a little more on that, but
Yeah, like I think you summed it up pretty well. Like I fully disconnected the emotional side of things for a while, and it was just that physical, like numbers look at it, like technical, and I was much worse off compared to I am now. Like, am I physically hungry at night? No, but do I emotionally want a sweet treat? Yes, and that's a positive emotional experience, and one that I thoroughly enjoy, and I do so with intention, and I
Do I
love it.
need a second latte every day?
No, but I get one
No.
like pretty much every day, right?
I-
It makes me happy.
Yeah.
And that's like a really positive and mindful emotional experience with food. Now,
Yeah.
on the opposite side of that, yeah, there can be a really negative emotional side of food, right? If you're tired, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you're upset, if you're mad, any of those negative emotions, if you use food to numb those out or as a coping mechanism, yeah, that can be a really unhealthy relationship with food. And that's something that I see all the time in my one-on-one clients, right? So that's where it gets a bad rap. And yeah, that's not the healthiest way to go about food, but there still is room for that positive emotional experience to exist. And so if you are experiencing that negative, like emotional, so you had a really stressful day, or you were like really anxious about something, and you're like, I don't want to think about that. I just want to eat and numb it out and just like glaze over, forget about it. I encourage you to take a step back, give yourself 15 minutes to try to self-soothe in another way. Some of my favorite things, because I very open about the fact I used to struggle with binging. I was like in a really bad place with that and for a while. And so whenever I felt that urge to binge, I would try to channel my energy in a different way. Pinterest boards, weirdly enough, the creative space that like that takes you really helps with coping mechanisms. So make a Pinterest board, go for a walk, call your mom, gratitude journal, brain dump your thoughts, right? Clean your space, take a bath, light a candle. Can you cope in another way that
Yeah.
creates space between you and that negative habit around food? And then revisit the idea of food 15 minutes later. Does it still seem appealing? Is that something you still want? Are you still craving something? Okay, yeah, of course, have that, but do so intentionally. Put it in a bowl, try to make it balanced, take it out of the kitchen, and sit with it. Be mindful about it. Like food is not something to be scared of, but you can't just like let it be used as a blanket to escape negative emotions either. I hope
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, for sure.
It even kind of reminds me of a long time ago, I listened to a podcast and it was just talking about how a lot of times too with eating, you get into like a habitual like occurrence with it. So like at night or midday or whatever it may be, like when you get home from school, like out of habit, you would just like go into the pantry and like grab a snack, regardless if you were hungry or not. But it was like learn to kind of put a barrier or like a boundary in between that. Like Maddie said, like if you feel like an urge, but like it's maybe out of emotion or to like cope with something, or it's literally just a habit, like those aren't necessarily great habits if they're not like fueling you the right way. Like if your body's not sending you signals, but it's just a habit, like just learn to acknowledge that, because for me, that was something I struggled with. I got into such a habit of like just opening the pantry when I was bored, or like I would get home from something and I would always get a snack, which again, snacking is not a bad thing, but it was like coming from a bad place because it wasn't actually honoring my body. It was literally just like, it was like a robot. Like you just like now, like you just open it up. So it's like learning to put space in between those tendencies of binging or just literally a habitual thing can be really helpful. Like that's what I learned to do because I would just always walk into my kitchen and I was like, oh, I'm in my kitchen. Oh, let's get a snack. But I'm like, I'm not even hungry. Or and then I would, yeah, it was the whole thing. Everyone obviously has their own like good and bad things with it. I wasn't like an emotional snacker, but I was like a habitual snacker just out of boredom. So putting that barrier between the two, just like break the habit. And then again, if I'm still hungry, obviously you honor your body, you eat a snack, but most of the time it was just like a learned behavior that I had created. So
Definitely. Pillar 8 and 9.
8 and 9, I'll take this one. Respect your body, girls. In a perfect world, we would all love our bodies, but we obviously know that's not realistic 24/7. Obviously, because every single one of us on here, I would say, still has bad body image days. We talked about that literally last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know. I'm getting in a time warp.
We talked about it sometime.
We talk about it a lot. But it can start with respect for all that it does for us every day to support us. So like, I want you guys to think about all the stuff your body does for you. Like, I don't know, when it kind of clicks of like, for me, it was the spiritual side of things when I allowed God to come into my fitness journey. And we've talked about that. Like, that's genuinely, he healed me. He saved me. He pulled me out because I had to pray and like was to the point of like, I'm tired of binging peanut butter jars in my kitchen at 3 a.m. and feeling horrible about myself the next day. Like, we were not meant or created to live in this guilt. And like, I would wake up feeling like, what am I doing? Like, and when I invited him in and he healed me, literally that's when that respect came, or at least for me. So I just want you guys to think of everything else your body does. Like, think about, like, I love that trend that's going around freaking on TikTok right now or Instagram that's about like, oh, I hate my stomach. And then it's like, oh, the stomach that gives you belly laughs, or I hate my arms. And then it's like, oh, the arms that help you lift your child or hug your friends. Like, I love that trend right now because it's so true. So I just want you guys to think about everything else your body does and establish that respect for it. And that's really like I would say the main like important little tidbit when you're transitioning from tracking to being just an intuitive eater. I think that's where people are so scared. But in reality, if you respect and if you trust your body, you'll be good, guys. Like, you'll be good. It's really that. It's like the reason that it's so hard for some people is because, and they spiral, is because they don't respect their body and they don't respect their hunger cues and they don't, they don't trust themselves. You have to reestablish that trust in yourself. But also pillar 9, moving on, we're going to move in ways that feel good to us. Okay. There's no right or wrong way to exercise. We all know that exercise and food all go hand in hand in this world today, but the beauty of movement is that we can have the freedom to choose your own fitness routine and choose one that like gives you energy. And I think just it's important to remember that these things, you want to be in that not perfect, but like in this little sweet spot. And I think we've all found, like, I think Maddie and Chloe and I are very blessed, and honestly Alana too probably, but we're just at a place where we're finally finding that sweet spot of like fueling ourselves to make our movement feel better, right? And it feels so good. Instead of, I used to view food as like, oh, I only am eating this to fuel this workout. But now it's like, I'm eating to fuel my workout, but also like everything else that my body does beyond the 45 minutes that I'm in the gym, right? Like, your body is still, like we mentioned in the slide earlier, burning, and your heartbeat, and it takes so much energy in general. So like, viewing food is more than just something to get you through your workout so that you burn more calories, I think is also a decent point to just add to the mix. I had to kind of get over that mindset too. Like, even if you don't work out, like your body still needs it, right? So anyways, anything to add? I kind of went on tangent, but
no, that was good.
That's great. And number 10, use gentle nutrition. So like, a lot of people think that intuitive eating, like, you have no care for health or concept of health, or you don't ever eat vegetables and you just eat pizza and cake all the time. Pizza and cake's great, but how would you feel if you ate pizza and cake for every single meal? You'd probably feel like crap. right? Same way as if you were in a really severe caloric deficit and you were just eating lettuce all the time, you'd feel like crap, right? So that's where balance comes in, and everyone's balance looks different, right? Kayla's balance looks different than my balance, and that's because we're different humans, right? We could all eat the same thing and work out the same way, but we would all still look completely different because God made you to be you, right? So a question I would always ask myself whenever I was like really trying to like find my satisfaction factor and like really be present with the food and find ways of eating that felt best to me was, how did I want to feel after this meal? Right? No matter what food's in front of you, your hunger cues are still the same. They're still there, whether it's like calamari and a fun cocktail, like I went to happy hour with my family Friday night, or if it's ground beef and banana at home, my hunger cues are still there. And I intentionally had a fun cocktail. It was delicious. It was kiwi. I was like, ooh, so fun. And I had like this fun sourdough loaf, and like we had bits of pizza, and we had like a tuna tartare, and like I picked at a little bit of everything. But I also knew like, oh, I feel satisfied here. Like I don't need to eat everything at the table because I trust my body. Same thing goes at home when I cook a home cooked meal, and that's why it feels so easily sustainable for me, is because I'm just in alignment with my cues, and I allow that balance in. I allow that soul food in because it makes life fun. So that's my balance, and I'm sure everyone else's balance looks different than that, but it shouldn't be such a like that checked off the list. That's it, if that makes sense. Anybody else have anything to add?
I think that's good. That's good. I think that people just need to like, I think that's a huge, just in general, a huge thing, like you mentioned, is just like everyone's balance is different. And there's Instagram, I think Instagram influencers, as we are all, us three, or four girls, right, on here, like four of us are influencers, right? And so they get a bad rep, and there's some of us that really are trying to like take our experiences and push out, like be mindful, like we have, like we want to teach you where we've been, and so you don't make the same mistakes or follow in the same path. But also I just want you guys to be mindful. There's influencers that we meet in real life, or that would post on their close friend stories, that are really truly struggling with food, and then they'll post what I eat in a day, right? And so I just want you to tread lightly. Even when I post things, I get very like nervous. That's my most requested thing. Like, I want food inspo, and it's hard because I like, while I do feel like I am in a place where I feed my body enough, and I preach on my girls, like, my body's not your body, right? And I don't want you to take that and be like, oh, I'm going to run with this. But a lot of girls online, just so you know, that a lot of influencers, that's not their main priority. Their main priority is views, or maybe they don't even know that they are having. And from the outside looking in, as a healed lady, I can see kind of these signs in certain girls of like, oh God, this is a slippery slope. But she doesn't, but being just as somebody on the other side of the screen that's never been through one, an impressionable young woman, you might not see those signs. And so you're like, oh, this girl's eating like this, I should eat like this, and then I'll look like her and be shredded and have a giant butt. And that's not necessarily the case. So anyway, I just wanted to, of course, add that to this call, that like, be very, very careful who you trust, and who you're following. And I always say, like, use food things that you see online for inspiration for meals, but don't compare their plate to your plate, the amount of calories they're eating. Don't you dare comment. Don't be one of those girls that comment and ask me how many calories I eat in a day, because I don't, and I'm not going to tell you, even if I did know, because everyone's different. But anyway.
Yeah, I think that was really well said.
Very true. Because I'm very close with, or I was, and like there's people that are coaching people that like don't get their period, and that's like not good. Like you never know who your favorite influencer who has the dream body that isn't having their period and has no hunger cues or anything. Like you don't know what they're actually struggling with. So learning your own is so important. And I'm on that journey right now too. Like I can hold your hand and walk with you if you want to be on that journey too, because I'm learning it right now. But like, don't trust it, what you see on the internet sometimes. Like it all looks good, but it's not. So yeah. If you don't have your period, that's also really bad. Like
we need
a red flag of like heal.
Yeah. And especially if you want to be like a mom one day, like that will destroy like your hormones so bad. And it's so bad for you. If you're not, Maddie, I think like is very well versed on that. So I think she does a lot with that. So if you like ever have struggled with that, Maddie will help you with that too.
Yeah, and if you guys don't want to talk, if somebody by chance or someone you know is struggling with it and doesn't want to talk about it on the call, I completely understand. Like my DMs are always open, but I am very like transparent about the fact that I didn't have a period for years, because I literally like had hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is like a secondary loss of your period because you are in starvation mode. Your body is doing all that it can to like conserve energy and slow everything down because it's like, oh, well, I don't have enough energy to put towards non-essential things that aren't keeping you alive. Okay, your period and your reproductive system's first thing, go.
Yeah.
Direct sign you're under fueling. So just some food for thought there too. And oh, and the last thing I'll say, kind of piggybacking off of Alana, the girls that you see that are shredded, bodybuilders, eating really low calories, not saying all of them, but I know very few specifically that have like told me that like they don't have a period either because of the habits. I used to get my period off of PCOS. Yeah, and PCOS is like a different ball game. I'm talking more so like under fueling, like totally get you. PCOS is completely different here. But love that you're on the journey of healing.
We love that. Yeah, I think it's just important for everyone to know that like overall, like food is made for so much more than just to get for you to gain weight or lose weight, for you to see the scale go up or go down. Like it is not just a numbered thing. It is an experience. Sorry, why is this computer making that noise? It is an experience. It is memories. It is fuel. It is literally so much more to it. And God didn't put it here. Like this is what I want to say. Okay. What is the first thing that that Satan tempted human beings with?
Yeah.
Think about it. Food. And so that has been like one of the number one things throughout history of freaking eternity that Satan has used to get a hold of us, especially women. It's food. It's one of his easiest tactics. And if he can turn a wonderful, lovely thing that God created into something that destroys us, he will, right?
Yeah.
By control, like it's the mind, right? Because it's easiest for him to get to us through our thoughts. So he can kind of distort and pervert the way we view food. And that's like, oh, that's amazing. Got us in the bag, right? Like, because once a girl starts obsessing over food, she obsesses over her body. She loses her self-worth. She loses her identity. She no longer has a firm foundation. Like perfect target, right? So I think just food for thought this week. Like, literally think about that. Like it's just not meant to be this big battle, but it is quite literally become a spiritual warfare battle. Food and women and physique.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, bouncing off that too, like one thing that truly like healed me, like healed me, like did it, was finally like I don't know how to like say what I'm trying to say, but was through prayer, was through going to God. I have tried everything on my own, like try to navigate like the whole eating. And the one thing that like solidified it and like locked it in, and I can truly confidently like feel in control of my body and in tune with my body, was praying. And I'd pray before every single meal. And in the days where maybe it's like not a good body image day, or maybe like thoughts, because like again too, once you're healed, it doesn't mean you don't have these thoughts. Like the enemy's still working, you know, like he's still trying to like get you. It's just a matter of like how you handle it. And now that I have the Lord, it's like leaning on him and praying to him and going to him and asking him to like reveal things to you. Even if you're like, am I under eating? Am I overeating? Like, is what I'm doing healthy? Like, pray about it. Like, Lord, like reveal this to me. Like, if there's like unhealthy habits that I'm doing, like reveal them or guide me to someone who can help me. Like Maddie's a great resource. Like some of you listening, like maybe you were placed here to like work with Maddie and like heal that relationship with food, because sometimes we don't know, but again, like he will like be the ultimate like healer and navigator in the situation. Cause like years, I never had like a full on ED, but like I never had a healthy relationship either. Like it was always like macros, what's the protein? Like, you know, I could never just view it as what it was food. So telling you prayer works because it's like changed my life. And
so we said praying over food. Like I think I used to just be like, oh, thank you for this food. Amen. Because like it was habitual, right?
yeah.
Now I literally, ever since I went on such a hard, like long journey of healing my ED, healing my hormones, healing my gut, healing all these things. Now intentionally every night, like when I'm eating, before I eat, I literally say, or before, not every night, every meal, I'll say, God, use this to nourish my body, use it to help my reproductive system, use it to fuel my workout, use it to to help my gut. Like I literally pray like for all the things that he has healed and restored. I pray over that meal and say like, use this for that for me. And it kind of helps me to remember like this is so much more. He's healed me from so much, and like this food is meant to do so much more. Keep me healthy. No longer looking at it like I hope this keeps me really skinny. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that, guys. So yeah, a little bit on intuitive eating. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts based on that? Or anything we talked about today?
this is time. Any open discussion, questions?
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
if anything does pop up, or you guys have any follow-up questions, or for any of us, including Alana, like, please, that's what we're here for. Never hesitate to reach out. We're your friend as much as anything else. Thank you guys so much for coming. Is there any prayer requests or things we can celebrate you for today?
I have a job interview this Thursday.
Oh my
So
God, exciting! Okay, definitely praying for you and cannot wait to hear about it.
yeah, keep us posted. Keep us
I
posted.
will.
I want to know how it goes.
Awesome.
Anyone else? Well, in general, we'll be praying for all of you. We always do. Just that y'all have a great week and that God reveals himself to you in some really cool ways this week, and that you get closer to him. And we hope this call blessed you. Like Maddie said, we're here. If you need any of us, inside school, outside school, doesn't matter. And yeah, ladies, that's a wrap.